Hi wrestling fans, thanks for clicking on the dreaded D-Rose report. Got some breaking news here, just got it off the wire. Former WWE diva Joni, or CHYNA Lauer, has been accused of viciously attacking a female friend in Los Angeles over the weekend. I wonder if it might have been her bosom buddy. Oh, seriously though. The Los Angeles Police Department is investigating CHYNA for battery after her accuser, Gabrielle Targos, says CHYNA got so violent that she thought she was going to die. According to TMZ, you know they're always there, TMZ.com. The incident occurred Saturday night at a motel in Sherman Oaks, California. According to the accuser, CHYNA called her and told her to meet her at the motel. When she arrived, she claims CHYNA immediately attacking her for no reason at all, punching her in the face, dragging her hair, beating her with a wire hanger, and threatening to kill her. Didn't she do that in WWE also, in the wrestling ring? Anyway, Gabrielle says she was able to break free and ran out of the motel room and found a few police officers. So far, no arrests have been made. I like to know the deal behind that, but we can only imagine, can't we? Anyway, the following matches are advertised for WWE's return to Madison Square Garden on June 19th. Now, this could have some spoiler deals in there, actually. June 19th is kind of a way off, so here's what's going on. John Cena versus Sheamus, Big Show versus Jack Swagger, Kane and Undertaker versus Luke Gallows and Punk, Randy Orton versus Edge, Hart Dynasty versus the Colognes, Mark Henry versus The Miz, Drew McIntyre versus Kofi Kingston and Eve Torres, Beth Phoenix and Kelly Kelly versus Maurice, Michelle McCool and Layla, and a special referee in the match, Santino Marella, the lucky sucker. MVP and the Bella Twins, they're going to be appearing also. And by the way, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, I sure have. On Raw and I believe with Extreme Rules they were together, there's been legitimate heat between Jerry Lawler and Matt Striker, I guess. Striker reportedly has a reputation for being an elitist. If you don't know what that means, just ask him, he'll tell you. Real cocky like. Which is rubbing people the wrong way, as Michael Cole also isn't a fan of Striker's either. There's been times that Striker wanted to prepare for a show with his broadcast partners, but he reiterates them to so much, I guess, that they go out of their way to avoid him anymore. I don't know who matched all three of them up together anyway. Alright, the following has been announced for next Monday's Impact on TNA from live from Orlando. You 700,000 people that watch the show. More than, anyway, more on Bischoff's new ranking system. Hulk Hogan decides to who gets Flair's Hall of Fame ring after Abyss won it. I don't know why he's got to decide who gets it, because supposedly Abyss won the thing. Doug Williams, he returns first time since being stripped of the X Division title. Orlando Jones debuts his Ozone interview segment, and his first guest is going to be Rob Terry. They might be close buddies too, you never know. TNA's new here's the way this ranking thing is going to go, by the way. TNA's new championship ranking system has been announced per Eric Bischoff. A championship committee has been formed consisting of Dixie Carter, Bischoff, and Hulk Hogan. The fans are going to be able to vote on TNA's website on who they think should receive the next TNA title shot. Okay, now let's make it a little bit more difficult. The fans' vote, along with the votes of the committee, will determine the top 10 contender rankings monthly and who gets a shot at the TNA World title. I draw suspect of that when they're asking the fans to vote, and then all at once the committee is also voting, which is only 3 votes. Who knows, whether they're going to actually count ours or not. TNA says that the rankings will be determined by a combination of weighted factors. The factors include individual wrestlers' career performance, win-loss record, and online fan voting. Each month, rankings will be announced on TNA the day after the monthly pay-per-view event. First top 10 contenders ranks will be announced May 17th, right after Sacrifice. So is that clear as mud? I don't know how they're going to keep. If they had a running total on there, be, where you could see your own vote getting voted on, that'd be all right. The Hart Dynasty, of course, won the unified tag team titles from Big Show and Miz on Monday's Raw. Batista is the new #1 contender to John Cena's title after winning the triple threat with Randy Orton and Sheamus. Edge interfered, though. The match will likely take place at Over the Limits pay-per-view. One of the biggest stories in the wrestling right now is that Jim Ross's latest, and it's his short-term contract extension, is set to expire. After well over a decade with WWE and playing a crucial role in the company's success during that period on and off camera, Ross could very likely become a free agent this weekend. Ross met with TNA's President Dixie Carter and her father Bob Carter earlier in the month, and several options has only been laid out of her as coming over to TNA. Within days of his eligibility to make a major decision, according to his next part of his career, Ross wrote the following on his Twitter account. This is kind of strange. You might be able to read into some of this. He said, "I've been blessed with an amazing career full of unbelievable experiences." He said, "This week is memorable for what hasn't happened. Blessing in disguise." Wrestling Observer newsletter says the feeling is that WWE releases came because several stars from NXT and WWE are scheduled to be brought to the main roster soon. Recent releases are a budget-cutting move, and it is every year. They always say it's budget-cutting. Anyway, WWE is making way for the new roster, I guess. But I tell you, if they're bringing up some of the ones from NXT, they haven't been drawing too much of the crowd or the fans over to NXT, so you better watch it. Shelton Benjamin's contract was releasing soon, and there was always a bit of a frustration internally with him, I guess. Shelton has a reputation of being one who coasts through the job, and that his promos were never as good as his in-ring work. Mickie James's release from WWE didn't surprise anybody within the company. Apparently, there was talk of cutting her before WrestleMania. She was on the SmackDown brand. Let me get that right. Mickie had a few run-ins with even Batista, and when things became heated, he threatened to quit if she wasn't fired, and Undertaker had to step in to calm things down. It's said that Mickey's recent behavior on the European tour was a deciding factor, which I didn't tell you about the Batista deal, but Batista's married, ain't he? Leave her alone. It's said that Mike Knox didn't carry himself on the main roster backstage either, but still had a share of supporters within WWE, and one of the points, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, were among those in favor of pushing Knox. Speculation online that Jim Wang's release was the wellness policy, which he said himself on his Twitter, 3 strikes and you're out, referring to the 3rd strike, and then he said things looked good down in Florida. Katie Lee's release was not something planned in advance, but the creative team had to book her to move to SmackDown in the draft. They had planned for her to go to SmackDown in the draft, but they got rid of her. Silly people. She's a good worker. It's said that the Slam Master Jay, didn't know if you know this, son of the late Terry Gordy, mainly had a job because SmackDown head writer Michael P.S. Hayes considers him almost like a son. His release came of a bit surprise to some because Hayes had always protected him. And Batista's status with WWE is unclear after he was expected to finish up this past week, but Batista's now looking in the main event at the Over the Limits pay-per-view against John Cena, and booked WWE live events through June. So whatever we tell you online and on YouTube on news events, take it just a little bit as a fact. I better get off here, or that's a fact. I'm about ready to run out of time. Hey, thanks for clicking. I gotta go.